What's up, Race Nation TV here. Welcome to the channel. We're bringing you the halfway update for the Bathurst 12 hour. Hopefully you can see the TV behind me right now. We're at, check the live timing right now, we are at 6 hours and 19 minutes remaining in the race. I'm gonna record this a little bit before the 6 hour mark to hopefully get it up. So just getting right away, if I'm looking away, I'm trying to check my laptop because I'd taken a bunch of notes throughout the race. So getting right after the start, the 999 Mercedes made a huge send to the inside in Hell's Corner, right in the first lap from the second row inside. Made a huge send and took the lead. But it wasn't long after that the number 60 McLaren, driven by Ben Barnicoat, if I murdered that name, I'm sorry. Bold move on the Mercedes into the chase, and that pretty much set the tone for the first 2 hours of the race. Now, what happened to the pole sitter, the 911, which was I don't remember who it was started by. I know Campbell qualified the car. Now, the 911 actually shuffled down to 4th at the start, and they've encountered more problems. I'll talk more about that. Overall, nothing really huge in the first 2 hours until we had our first yellow flag. The number 188 Aston Martin had a huge crash, and that brought out the first yellow. Then right after that, I guess, you know, the yellows breed yellows. After we had the Aston Martin crash, another yellow flag happened with the number 6 Lamborghini hitting the wall. It was stopped on track. He hit it pretty hard, so that brought out the second yellow of the race. And what happened during this yellow, the McLaren, the number 60, has been dominating to that point, and so they made the bold move to pit during this yellow. They figure if they pit 2 hours in and not 2.5 in, they don't have to worry about drive time in the next stint. So what happened was, when we were coming to 2.5 hours into the race, most of the guys who started the race, who were almost 2.5 hours into their drive time, their stints were only 24 laps, which they could probably go another 10 laps on their stint on fuel, but they would have had to pit early because of the drive time to avoid the penalty for that. So that's about 9.5 hours left in the race at this point. So we go forward about an hour when the drive time is being threatened, and people are going to have to start coming in. We had our third yellow of the race. This is pretty big. The number 22 Audi of Garth Tander. Kind of an odd incident. Then his teammate ahead of him got loose, and then as he was trying to go by him on the inside, he got loose, and just like, it could have been way worse. Both the team cars could have been out, and it could have been really bad. But only Garth Tander was caught up in it, and I mean, if you look at it in a good way, only one of the Audis is out. If you look at it in a bad way, Garth Tander got the worst of it. But what that yellow basically did was, what it did was basically even the field, because then the guys who were threatened by drive time, they came in and pit. But then at that point, the McLaren, because there was going to be a yellow and the field was going to be restacked, they just pit anyways then too. So I think they did make up some time by not doing the driver changes, but they definitely didn't cycle back all the way to the lead. So that was definitely that didn't work out as well as they thought it would. But you know, they're definitely still fast enough to be there. The other thing that was wild after that Garth Tander yellow was it was a 30-minute yellow flag, which also kind of messed up the next stint because people go longer, because he did probably a good 3 or 4 laps under yellow, however long it takes, you know, 30 minutes of yellow at Bathurst. The Walk and Horse BMW, I'm very sad to report that that Nicky Katzberg said on Twitter that he hit a kangaroo earlier in the race, and that's why the hood of the car was having to be taped back on. He didn't say that the kangaroo was had passed away or not, but let's just hope and pray for that kangaroo. So up until then, the only other news would be is that the 999 and the 911 Porsche, they both had some pit lane infractions. Other than that, while I'm looking at live timing and scoring right now your leader is the Bentley number 7. Followed by the 77 Mercedes, and then the 60 McLaren. We're kind of at the point of the race where, you know, we're halfway, so we're at the point where everyone's just kind of trying to make laps and get through this, and then I'm guessing give it about 2.5 hours, and we'll get there to where guys are going to start fighting. But then again, rain is imminent, and it looks like it's gonna happen at some point. So to add in everything we got this morning, it's still lots and lots to happen. There's a car stopping the track right now. The only other thing I have is the number 76, the Scott Dixon car that I talked about in the preview. They encountered some trouble. They actually had a weird start. They started 10th, they fell down to 29th, and then they started making their way up the field, kind of slowly. And then just recently they had to come into the garage to change the splitter, and that's pretty much taken them out. They're about 6 laps down now. So both the 30 and the 76, they've encountered very disappointing fates, and they're both 4 and 5 laps down. So that'll wrap it up. If you want to check it out, there's a bunch of streams going on YouTube. It's free to stream to watch this race. Totally free, legal. Go do it. Go watch this race. Again, I'm picking the 888 to win. Let me know in the comments who you got to win, and we definitely have a lot more to discuss. So I'll be doing a video at the end of the race to recap the rest of the 6 hours and also the weekend. So thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content.